Now today we're looking at the Accelerator Pedal Position Sensor, also known as the drive-by-wire system. You may have heard that term before. Let's jump over to the vehicle. I'll show you exactly what it means and we'll get right to it. So this happens to be a 2006 Acura, and this has a drive-by-wire system. What that simply means is that inside here, this is your throttle body, and there's a little butterfly. And as you press down the accelerator inside the car, the butterfly opens, the RPM increases, and you go faster. When you let off the accelerator, this butterfly closes, and then the RPM drops and you slow down. On your older vehicles, which you'll see in a moment, there was a line, a physical line that connected directly to the gas pedal inside the vehicle, or the accelerator, and that line went directly to the throttle body to control this butterfly. No computers, just a physical line. This is a different animal with these drive-by-wire systems. In this case, you still have a line, which you'll see in a moment once I remove these plastic pieces. There's a line that runs to the gas pedal. It goes directly to the accelerator pedal position sensor. It takes a reading on what you're doing, sends that to the vehicle's computer, then the computer tells this guy what to do in terms of if you're hitting the accelerator, you're letting off, and so forth. So it's just the way that modern vehicles are. Now let me show you the way it was for many, many years. Now take a look at this 2003 Honda. Right here's the throttle cable coming from the firewall, and instead of diverting to any electronic device, it's just your old-fashioned hookup directly to the throttle body. In fact, I'll start the vehicle in a moment. You can change the engine speed right from here. Much simpler design. You don't have to worry about any electronics. It's just the old-fashioned way of doing things. This other line goes directly to the cruise control if you're curious. I sort of like the old-fashioned design. It's just a lot simpler, less to go wrong, but unfortunately modern vehicles, they've gone away with the traditional design. So again, following the throttle cable, as you can see, it goes directly to the pedal inside the vehicle. I hope that gives you a pretty decent idea on how this system works. It's just controlled by a computer. That's just the end of it. But what we need to do is locate the sensor. The best thing you could do if you don't know where the sensor lives is just do a web search. A lot of times you can dig it up. If you can't find it, just try a form specific with your vehicle. Now in my case, again, this being a 2006 Acura TL, I have these plastic pieces, so I'm just going to remove these plastic pieces. And get clear access to the sensor. Super easy to test. Doing these tests, you can save a lot of money, so don't be afraid to do these things. And the sensor lives way back here. Now if you still have trouble locating the sensor, look for two things. Number one is a throttle cable. This is a heavy duty cable. This cable runs from the sensor all the way to the accelerator inside the cabin. Actually goes right through the firewall if you follow this. So look for the throttle cable as well as a harness connector. Okay? So what I'm going to do is disconnect this, and I'm going to remove the sensor from the vehicle. The only reason why I'm doing that is it's easier for me to film on what you need to do on the bench. You can, by all means, you can test the sensor while it's still attached to the vehicle. Again, it's just easier for me to film it. So I'm just going to remove this plastic cover. It's held in by a couple of fasteners, and then we'll remove the entire unit from the vehicle. So right here, the harness connector is just held in with a plastic clip. I'll just move that out of the way. And then again, I just have two fasteners holding on the plastic cover, and we'll keep on going here. Okay, just two fasteners. All right, this guy comes off. Now the next step is I have a connection point here where the throttle cable meets the sensor. This is a 12mm fastener. Get a good grip on it. Back it off. You can spray some WD-40 PB Blaster if you want. Whatever works for you. Okay. Then we'll turn this. This is the actual throttle. And this just comes right out. Maybe a little difficult, but there you go. And then I just have two fasteners holding in the part. A little hard maybe for you to see. There's another one right here behind the strut bar, but one right here, another one right there. Okay. Be careful, you don't want to drop it. Let me just zoom out here. See if I can get this out. Okay, there's the entire assembly. Now, fortunately, testing the sensor is quite simple. All that you need is a digital multimeter. Now, these are inexpensive. If you do not have one of these, this specific one is $20 off Amazon. I'll have a link in the description box below directly to our affiliate site. Your local auto parts stores and home centers also sell them. Again, typically $20 to $25. Do not be intimidated by this. Super simple to use. Awesome tool to have. If you plan on doing your own auto repair, this is a must-have along with the scan tool. You have to have one of these. Now this is optional. Just 2 wires with alligator ends. That's it. Super simple. Now really, if you take a look at the sensor, it's really 2 sensors built into one. There's a sensor A and a sensor B built into this entire unit. So if we can imagine, by cutting this or slicing this in half, sensor A deals with the right-hand side of the sensor. Sensor B deals with the left-hand side of the sensor. So what I'm going to start off is testing sensor A, or the right-hand side of the sensor. So that in my case, that's P2122, P2123. And I'll have, what I'll do in the description box is I'll correlate the trouble codes with the, if it's sensor A, sensor B, and so forth. Oh, let me grab that. Now the multimeter comes with 2 leads, a black lead and a red lead. So go ahead and just plug them in. And then if we take a look at the multimeter, you have a number of different functions. In our case, we're doing a resistance test. So that is the omega symbol on the multimeter. That's it. This is ready to rock and roll. Put this down. Now, again, if we take a look at the sensor, it's really 2 sensors in one. We have sensor A, so that's prongs number 4, 5, and 6, and then sensor B is prong 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to start with sensor A, so the right-hand side of the sensor. So all that I'm doing is I'm grabbing the alligator clips, I'm placing one end on the last prong, and then I'm grabbing another wire, and I'm going to touch it to prong number 4. Okay, just like this. So as you can see, number 5, you may be able to see that, but number 5 is not being touched. That's what's nice with these clips. You can slide down the rubber boot so it's not touching anything inadvertently. And then all that we're doing is you're just taking the alligator clips and touching it to the multimeter. And we should see a reading, a good reading, typically 0.3 to 0.5 kilo ohms. So just take a look at the multimeter. We have roughly 0.38 kilo. This is an auto ranging multimeter, makes the job a little bit easier. So right here you see K, that stands for kilo. So this is in good shape. This is what you want to see. If you're not getting a reading here, the sensor is bad. Now you can even do something else. Just move the throttle. This is a closed throttle. But if I open up the throttle, we should see the number changed. And as you can see, 1.6. If I close it, back down to roughly 0.38, 0.39 kilo ohms. So this is what you want to see. You should see this kind of correlation. If you don't, the sensor is bad, it needs to be replaced. Now you can even do another test. If I do the exact same thing, except I'm just removing prong number 6, okay? And I'm going to leave the 4th one attached, but then touch number 5. Again, watch the multimeter. This you should see something a little bit higher, 2.5, 3.5 kilo ohms, which we have. And then again, if I open up the throttle, or it doesn't have to be all the way open, just move it. As you can see, it changes, goes back down, and that's it. This is what you want to see. So super, super simple to test. Now let's go ahead and do the other side, which is sensor B. I'm going to disconnect these two, and I'm going to connect number 3, okay, and then number 2. Let's see what we have here. And again, we're at roughly 0.35 kilo ohms. Move the throttle. There you go, we see a change in the reading. Again, this is if you have P2127 or P2128, which is the sensor B. Now again, if I disconnect the third prong and touch it to the first, so just number 3 and number 1, should see something a little bit higher typically for sensor B, so 5.7 kilo ohms. Open this up, and the number changes. So this is what you want to see. You don't have to really go so crazy regarding the reading in terms of the exact amount. The point is you want to see a reading, and the number should change as you open up the throttle. If you don't see what I'm showing here, very good indication that the sensor is bad, especially if you have the check engine light with one of these trouble codes. And as you can see, it's rather easy to replace. These could be a little pricey, maybe 140, 150 bucks. Every car is different. Your European cars could be, quite a bit more, but nonetheless does not hurt. For 20, everything you see here with the wiring, maybe 25 bucks, you can pinpoint it and see exactly what's going on. Now, one last thing I just want to quickly show you in case you test the sensor, it's working perfectly fine, but you still have a trouble code. Well, you may have bad wiring. So this is the harness connector that we unplugged from the sensor. Let's verify that it's working correctly. So what I'm going to do is turn on the ignition key. I'm not starting the vehicle, just turn on the ignition key, and we should have roughly 5 volts worth of power. Now, if you take a look, let me zoom in here. You can see that super small. Look how small this harness connector is. In other words, to fit the probe, or the probes of the multimeter into the harness connector, it's too difficult. So all that I'm going to use, very simply, paper clips. Super simple. Now you could do process of elimination. In my case, I did this off camera. In other words, I have 6 connection points. You have to find the 2 that generate the power. So in my case, it's the last 2 over here on the right. And this doesn't hurt the multimeter, just, and I'll show you that in a moment actually. It doesn't hurt the multimeter, just testing different leads. But I'm just touching these 2 leads with paper clips. Don't cross them. If you cross them, you can burn something out. So just be careful when you do this. You probably wouldn't, but don't cross them anyway. Okay. So let's turn on the ignition key. Now in the multimeter, you want the volts reading. There's 2 volts readings. DC, which is what you want. If you see AC, that's for your household electric. You don't want that. So volts, DC, and let's take a reading. Now again, we should see 5 volts of power. 1 lead, black is going to one, red goes to the other one. You can use the alligator clips again, but there you go, 5 volts of power. Again, if you do this test and you don't get any power, nothing going to the harness connector, you have a break somewhere between the harness connector, most likely it's on the ends. A lot of times these can get chewed up, especially if the vehicle has been sitting for a while and you have mice and insects and so forth just eating away at everything. But you'll have a break between the harness connector and the vehicle's computer. But again, check the back of the wiring. Most likely it's right around here. So as you can see, it's quite simple to test and replace these units. Now if this sort of makes you nervous and you just don't want to go through all of this, you can replace the part, cross your fingers, and hopefully your vehicle runs better, but you don't want to take any chances. Don't throw money down the tube if you don't have to. Pinpoint where you have the problem, learn about your vehicle. You're better off in the long run. Take my word for it. So thank you for watching. Stay well, and we'll see you next time.